We are back with another episode of the Real ResQ Podcast, part of the Vertical Podcast Network known as Helicast. Vertical Magazine has come together to create an ultimate podcast network with the Hangar Z, the Helicopter Podcast, Vertical Flight Crew, and the Vertical MRO Podcast. Check them all out at verticalhelicast.com. Now I'm going to take a moment to say thank you to the sponsors of this episode. We've got Blue Drop Training and Simulation, innovative training and interactive technologies. Check them out at bluedroppts.com. Spectrolab, a Boeing company. Over 50 years of high-intensity lighting solutions for airborne and land-based search light systems. Check them out at spectrolab.com. Airbus, pioneering sustainable aerospace for a safe and united world. Check them out at airbus.com. And of course, the realrescuestore.com. Go get all your swag there to help support this podcast. Now it's time to jump into our next episode. And here are some fun facts about our next guest and his dog. For him, he loves to play disc golf and he goes out and plays every chance he gets. He also loves to play Fortnite with his kids. He absolutely hates cotton balls. For whatever reason, does not like them. I didn't ask any further than that. I just thought it was funny. His dog's original name was Cayman. His dog came from Slovakia, and he wasn't even supposed to be a police dog. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Mark Tappan and his canine, Mattis. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ Podcast. You do these a lot. You're like a famous guy.
It's been a minute, though, with Riverside, so I appreciate that.
Whatever.
And I'm not.
Okay.
My dog is famous. I'm just a dude. I'm not that.
That's freaking awesome. Famous for the dog. Is that like being a wife to somebody that's famous or a husband to somebody that's famous? You're like, I'm the bag holder.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, you could hand the leash of Mattis to anyone, and people would be like, you know, the person holding the leash is cool because of the dog. It has nothing to do with me.
Oh God, that's fantastic. That's hilarious. You know, we're gonna start just like that. Is that all right? Can we just roll into this right now?
Yeah, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real ResQ Podcast. I've got today Mr. Mark Tappan and stories with him and his canine, Mattis. What's up, Mark? How are you?
Man, we finally made it happen. I am so glad. This is amazing. I'm so excited.
Me too, man. Me too. This is awesome. Dude, I'll tell you, like, it's kind of funny, actually, now that you mentioned that, because you and I literally bounced things around for like 4, 5, 6 times and just one thing after another. And then finally, boom, here we are.
You have to be the coolest guy on the planet because I feel like I ghosted you and left you hanging. And you're like, hey, bro, are we still doing this or what? And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you're halfway around the world and we have different time zones.
Yeah. Minor detail. Hey, if Madison told you, everything would have been fine. Gosh.
100%. If the dog could type and drive, there would be absolutely zero reason for me to exist.
Oh man, Mark, that's hilarious. Well, welcome to the show, dude. I appreciate you coming on. For everybody that's out there listening to this one's going to be a little bit different. So, Mark, you are an officer of the law, and you've been working for the police department for quite a while. Canine handler, which is Mattis, and he's a kind of a badass dog, actually. Yeah. And I'm gonna highlight you guys real quick because this is awesome. Highly respected canine handler, that would be you, and an amazing storyteller. You also have your own book out, is that right?
Yeah, I have a dog named Mattis.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Dropping that in there. I love it.
I have 3 kids' books too, but you know, I think your audience is
do you really?
a little bit older. Yeah.
You know what? My wife is a teacher, and she will love that. So we'll make sure we get that in the classroom.
Man, after drop me an address, I'll put some of the kids' books if you think they would like it. I'll throw some
Absolutely.
kids them your way. That'd be cool.
Done.
Okay.
So the dog we have, that's because of my wife. That's all my wife's dog. All right.
Awesome.
I'm just the pet owner after her because she is his favorite. Whatever.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah. Do they even like you?
Sometimes. Only when I take her for a walk or give them food.
Word.
So let's see. You've been on a plethora of media outlets, including Good Morning America, Fox and Friends, The Weather Channel, Live PD, and A&E, Entertainment Tonight, as well as, congratulations, you and Mattis have been America's top dog on A&E. Well done. That's awesome. Yeah. You guys have been recognized for numerous amounts of honors, which include Officer of the Year. Well done to you and Mattis.
Thank you.
The Director's Award, the Distinguished Service Award, and Mattis has been awarded a Purple Heart for his bravery.
Yes.
My goodness.
The only reason I don't like any of those is, once again, because I was holding his leash. That is it.
But did he listen to everything you say?
Well, it's more of, I just kind of follow what he does and don't question him. That's what it is.
Nice.
Like I'm commanding him. It's more of, you want me to do what? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Susie fell in the well. Come on. You're like, okay, let's go.
That's right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The other one, I'll throw this one out there too, as well, is you guys, or Mattis, has been on TV series such as Disney's Just Beyond, The Watchmen, and BMF. I don't know, what is BMF?
I think it's Black Mafia Family. It's on HBO. I think it's on HBO. Yeah.
Dang,
and it's about
awesome.
it's about like the drug trade in the early 80s, I believe. And he plays a dog in the airport. It was funny. It was interesting. It was cool.
Awesome.
The cast and everyone was super nice on that. It was really good. Really good experience.
That's very cool. Yeah. So, with all of that shout out like to Mattis, let's come back to you for a minute. All right, the handler. We're just gonna call you the dog handler, and then there's Mattis, and then there's you, right? So, what's your background, and how did you become into law enforcement?
It's kind of a long story, but let's see. I was going to college after high school, which is how it works for some people. But I realized really quickly that college was not going to work out for me. My intention was I wanted to be a game show host. That's what I was going to Southeastern Louisiana University, and I was flunking out of college after 2 semesters. The only reason I was still passing was because I took a lot of PE, and that's it. Like I took running, Aikido, tennis, and that's why I was able. And so I was good at zoology, which is funny enough, I guess. But everything else, I was just tanking. And I was like, I don't think this game show host plan is going to work out too good. And one of the people I respected most in my life was my uncle, and he was a Marine. And the things that I really looked up to in his life was he was successful in everything that he did. He was charismatic. He was kind. He was generous, and he attributed all of that to lessons he learned in the Marine Corps. And I looked at my life, and I'm like, I'm really immature, and I need some of these characteristics that he has in my life. So enlisted and took me to the Marine Corps. And my intent actually was to become a police officer right when I came out of the Marine Corps. But I had all kinds of like arrogance issues and stuff. And being a Marine kind of inflates some of those sometimes, you know, because you're the best. And I was in the infantry. It was an amazing time. It taught me so much. And I was in the Marine Corps with the intent to become a police officer when I came out. But then I got into church ministry and did that for 10 years. And kind of as I look back, it was the perfect combination, right? Because I had all this arrogance and stuff from, you know, high school and Marine Corps and whatever. Like I was good in martial arts, like some different awards and things that I got there and titles and stuff. And then the ministry and the Marine Corps, both of those combined really kind of shaped who I was to make me, I think, a good candidate to be a decent police officer, right? Is not only did I have, like, you have to work hard, the work ethic, the taking responsibility for your actions. I think the Marine Corps taught me, and two, just like the tactical side that the Marine Corps taught me, and then the compassion element through the church was a nice combination that made me, I think, ready to be a decent police officer. So,
wow, man,
yeah,
that's so cool. And
yeah,
all right, so while you were in the Marine Corps,
yeah.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I know it's a totally different, like, so I was prior U.S. Coast Guard, and so my
Right.
world was search and rescue. Your world is search and destroy, or
That's it.
whatever.
I had no marketable skills when I came out of the Marine Corps. That's like when I came, you could use yours. I could not really.
Well, all right. So, but one of my questions is, like, it's interesting because I've talked to a couple of the Marine Corps guys, and there are times where you guys are actually called in to go really help another, either another Marine, a teammate, another team. Is there anything like that happened while you were in?
Um, no, I think I told you I was in. It was kind of funny. I got, like, I had danger pay, right? And I was given this speech after we won some awards, and the VFW honored us. And I'm in this room. I'm gonna answer your question, I promise. But I'm in this room with people who, like, stormed Omaha Beach, right? To me, that is the epitome of courage. Is you're in one of those the Higgins boats, and the front goes down, and you're seeing buddies collapse, and you go towards it, right? That's the room that I was in with these people, and they're like, "You should join the VFW," and I'm like, "I don't think so." They're like, "I don't even think I'm qualified," and they're like, "Well, did you ever see combat, or did you get danger pay?" And I'm like, "Well, I got danger pay," and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing. What for?" And I'm like, well, I went to Saudi to play volleyball on the Marine Corps volleyball team, and you stormed the beaches of Omaha. So yeah, I deserve to be in the VFW. So anyway, I was in between Desert Shield and Desert Storm. A lot of the stuff that we did, we almost went to Cambodia. So no, I helped some lieutenants that could not do land navigation find their
Oh,
way out.
hey,
Yeah,
well
somebody did
done,
that.
well done. We'll count it. Approved.
Right on.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, so outside of the Marine Corps, now you get into being a police officer.
Yeah.
Where does Mattis come into this?
Oh, so I was doing I was patrol, I was SWAT, and I loved SWAT. Like, that was, you kind of get your adrenaline fix kicking indoors and having a fun time. But I one of my deep passions too, and you got to think of the time frame that I've been a police officer, is I saw, like, the biggest chasm with people and the police, because we're going through, all the riots, BLM, George Floyd, right? All these things that are happening, and both sides are getting super defensive. And I'm like, man, if we could just bring people together. And I realized that dogs create this incredible bridge, no matter your background, right? As you see a dog, it's someone with a dog, and it makes this connection, and you can open a line of communication. And so that was one of the things that attracted me. Another, just my childhood, my dad used to field train labs. I mean, I love dogs, and I saw these intelligent dogs that would do anything that he asked them to. He'd blow a whistle and point, the dog would go and bring stuff back. And then when you get to into the police force, I didn't have the pleasure of being around any canine teams when I was in the Marine Corps, but when you get in the police force and see just the multiplicity of the things that the dogs can do, where they can find dope, they can find bombs, they can find, guns, they can protect, they can apprehend, they can track. I was like, this is incredible. And then I saw how people flock to you and would ask questions and find out who you are. And I was like, man, I really want to do that. And I also realized that, like, I always wanted to achieve the most I could, which is, I want to do the hardest. My uncle was so successful. I was like, that's why I'm going Marine Corps, is it was supposed to be the hardest. I wouldn't come out with the best skills, but it was going to be the hardest. And then SWAT, I was like, this is amazing. But I saw canine. It's a 365-day, 24 hours during the day commitment, where you're always training or untraining this dog. And I saw it as, man, that's an incredible challenge. So I think those three things were the reason that I said I really want to do canine, and I poured my all into it. Like, I was going to make it impossible for them to say no.
That's awesome. That's super cool. I have had an opportunity to meet a couple, one dog handlers and their canines, and it's kind of funny. Like one of my friends, her name is Kim, who actually helped me get in touch with you. She had it on her bucket list. She wanted to pet the unpettable dog, and she was able to do that. And I was so excited to like. I had like this much to do with it, but I'm okay with that because she got to pet an untouchable dog. So like
Cool.
this is exciting to me.
That's awesome.
All right, so now you are excited. You get Mattis. How did that work? Like, is it you get to pick the litter and you get, or is it assigned to you where, hey, you're now gonna be a handler. We're gonna give you a dog. Go.
Both and right is actually my first dog. His name was Nico. And Nico,
nice.
The handler, was no longer with the agency, and so I got assigned Nico, and that was an interesting relationship. I mean, being a dog handler, it's one of the coolest and most frustrating things that you'll ever get into. The frustrating thing is you expect them to do something and they don't do it, and you get frustrated, but then you realize, wait a second, I'm supposed to be. It's the only reason I exist, right? Is the dog's a dog. I'm supposed to be the smart one, the patient one that can interpret what the dog is trying to tell me. So if he's not doing or she's not doing what I want it to, whose fault is it? Me. I'm
extreme ownership. Okay.
Yes. I'm always the problem. That's with being a dog handler. You are always the problem. If the dog is doing something, it's because of you. And so Nico was he was a headstrong dog. I learned later through some of the deployments that we had. One was kind of a search and rescue thing, more of a search. The guy like destroyed his wife with a pipe and was hiding from us.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to come back to it. Let's circle it. Actually, let's get right into that. What?
Okay. Well, and this was kind of how I knew that Nico needed to retire, right? He was this amazing dog. I was growing as a handler. He was growing as a dog as I started to learn more. And there's this one call that we went out on, and it was a domestic. The guy took off after he had, just like I said, just destroyed his wife. He was thought to be armed with like a pipe or a bat or something like that. And the wife's warning us, hey, he's an Army Ranger, all this other stuff, and I'm like, I got a dog and I was a Marine. I got this. Yeah.
Sorry,
so it had just happened. He had just run. I hit the ground tracking with my Nico and I. And typically you would wait for backup, but I was just like, I know that this just happened, and I'm a dog, or I'm a Marine. He's a dog. We got this. And so we start tracking, and he does a great job tracking, which he was always such a good tracking dog. He tracks into this park, into the bathroom. We go into the bathroom. He passes by a stall, and he gets like I just out of nowhere, I see a dark object smack my dog on the side of the face. And then it's on. I pull my gun. Just all these things, take control of the situation, but get him in custody. But Nico, and I didn't realize it at the time, because of the blunt force that he took to the side of his head, he went blind in one of his eyes. And so it meant that we had to retire Nico. And he was only 6 years old when we retired him. And I was just getting to know. But that's when it led me to Mattis. And where Nico was already selected for me. And I just I slid into the position of the handler of Nico. Mattis was one that I actually picked. And there was this whole growth process as a handler and a trainer, because I went through trainer school with Nico. But I learned a lot about how to select dogs. And so that meant that the next time I went, I actually got to test and select dogs.
That's so cool. All right. So now I'm going to relate this. So we had a canine handler come on here, and he was telling his stories. And one of the things that he talked about was like you push the dog over, and I could be exaggerating with stuff, see how fast it pops up, put it on its back, see if it rolls over quick. And are you doing that stuff as a puppy as well for you guys? Like you're looking for an athlete. Okay.
Yeah. I had in my mind, because of the trainer school that I went to, I already had in my mind the kind of dog that I wanted. And as I'm sure you've seen in the like the tier 1 in the military, they're kind of in police as well. They're kind of steering towards the Belgian Malinois because they're athletic, they're small, agile, they have the right temperament. And the trainer school that I went to, the guy was actually responsible for helping with dev group develop their dogs. Still to this day, they hold the contracts. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. That's who I want to learn from. And he had this little 60-pound Belgian Malinois. It was a female named Abby. And I thought it was the smartest dog. Would follow by his side. You could interact with it. But in an instant, that dog would absolutely destroy you. And I was like, that's what I want. And Mattis is a 100-pound German Shepherd, right? So it was when we went to select dogs, I was like, I don't want that one because it's huge. It's a German Shepherd. You know, I thought it was everything I didn't want, but I started running the different tests. And, you know, it was like perseverance test, hunt test, you know, just prey, throw in things, see how hard they chase after it. I took a ball and for the perseverance, hit it under a wooden pallet, and Mattis flips the pallet and gets to the ball where it's really just supposed to see like how hard they try to get it. And then we did our confidence test in the bite suit, and he just destroyed me. So it was like one of those that I was like, I think I want a 60-pound dog, but this 100-pound German Shepherd, and he was calm and he was focused. And it was like all these other dogs are going nuts and losing their mind. And he was just like, I got this. And I was like, that's what I want. And so, yeah, I ended up selecting him. I mean, the way that he fit all the criteria and all the tests that we do, I was like, I can't pass this dog. I knew from the beginning he was going to be a once in a lifetime dog.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, how old is Mattis now?
He is, this month he turns 12.
Oh, wow. 12. Dang, that's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Man,
he's slowing
getting
down
up
a lot.
there.
What's that?
Yeah, that's old. That's German Shepherds. They're like, oh, they're starting to get achy. You take it for a walk, and they're like, I'm ready to go home. They just turn around and come right back. They're like, oh.
Yeah. He just follows me. He's actually on the floor in front of me right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so then I'm going to ask this question right here. After you get him trained and you guys were like in sync, do you remember one of your first call-outs that you guys had together? We're going to divert real quick to thank our sponsors.
SpectroLab. SpectroLab, a pioneer and world-leading supplier of high-intensity searchlights for all para-public operations. Visit www.spectrolab.com to learn more about our third-generation Night Sun series high-intensity searchlight. When reliability and performance is critical to your mission, count on SpectroLab Night Sun searchlights.
Oh, absolutely. He was one where I was so excited to get him back. Because like to hit the streets because I knew that he was going to be incredible. And we had this call where it was just a shoplifting from the mall, and it was a rainy day, and they ended up crashing out on the side of a freeway. We had just gotten back from school, and tracking is one that you teach the dog more and more skills as you go. They start at a very base level. Like you teach, a lot of schools will teach them just like crushed vegetation tracking, which is the easiest kind of tracking, where it's like when you cut your lawn, you smell the difference of your lawn after it's been cut.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's easy to train a dog to track doing that, but it's not the best way to train a dog to track. Because you want them to pick up on scent discrimination, which means they're able to, rather than just track the crushed vegetation, which is an element, but if something else comes through and crushes vegetation too, they can leave that track and go to a different track, and you don't have any confidence. So if you teach them how to track like hard surfaces, and you're tracking for your human odor, because we all have a unique scent picture, right? Yep. Based on the things that the chemicals you use on your body, the foods that you eat, you smell different than any other person on the earth. And so if you can teach your dog not only the crushed vegetation, which is helpful, but how to scent discriminate, it's so key. But in that, there's all these steps, because it's easy in certain environments for a dog to scent discriminate, and it's harder in other ones. Like cold environments are hard. Hot ones can be hard. So there's this hard surfaces are really hard because odor dies really quick. Vegetation kind of holds on to the scent, all the skin cells and stuff that you're dropping. And they get blown on hard surfaces, they get blown away really easily as well. So the call came out, and I knew that all these elements were working against him. I haven't done a ton to advance him in his tracking at all, but I wanted to see what he had. And so I'm like, you know what? We're going to give it a shot. I knew it was a non-apprehension because it didn't meet the criteria to use a dog to actually put teeth on someone at the end of this, right? The threat wasn't that great. But at the same time, we could use him to locate. And so that's what I was going to do, is use him to locate. And I deploy him on the side of the freeway, which is a horrible place to track because you have cars going by, like, if you've ever been around Atlanta, especially our freeways, they're going by like 75, 80, 90 miles an hour, blowing odor everywhere. It was raining, which like washes odor away. And so we're on the side of a freeway. Mattis picks up the scent from the car and just right alongside the freeway starts going. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Right. And then he cuts up underneath the freeway. There's like this drainage pipe that goes the breadth of the freeway. And it's about 4 feet high, concrete. And you can see how I'm kind of follically challenged on the top, which means I'm squatting down and it's raining. So all these oils and greases are dry, like coming through. I'm dragging my head on the top of the concrete of this drainage thing that's going underneath. So I'm bleeding in my own face. It's pitch black. There's like critters running around our feet. Mattis is just tracking. Like he's just pulling me through this tunnel. And I'm like, this is pretty cool, right? This is amazing. You don't want to use light in that situation because then you're giving away your position, right? So I don't want to silhouette myself in this drainage pipe because if they are waiting on the other side and just want to take me out, it would be super easy. So it's pitch black, bleeding on my face, but I'm getting tired. My back hurts because I'm already old at this point. And my time in the Marine Corps, I got like degenerative bone disease of the lower lumbar. Like I'm just broken and going through. I get to the end of this tunnel, which was probably like 300 yards, pretty tired. And there's this waterfall that just goes off and water's rushing and it drops down like 40 feet. And I'm like, there's no way they went this way. And I'm like, you know, maybe he's wrong. And I'm doubting my dog. And I look over to the side of the drainage ditch and there's a shoe stuck in the mud. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like this dog has nailed it. Right. So I pick him up into the mud. I crawl through the mud. So now I'm bleeding, tired, caked in mud. And then Mattis just pulls straight down this hill. Right. We're going down the hill. And one of the, like, if you fast forward to our trainings as a team, the other handlers, just to screw with me, would always do downhill tracks because Mattis is a horse and like he's a plow horse. And you put that tracking harness and he goes so fast. He does, like a lot of dogs, you want to slow them down when they track so they don't miss anything. He tracks better fast, so it means you have to keep up with him. And downhill means that other handlers knew that I would fall. And that's what's happening is I'm going down this steep embankment. I'm on my butt. I'm getting dragged. I'm hitting trees on the way down. He goes down the hill through a stream. And then he comes back up the hill. And then he goes back down the hill again. And he goes back up the hill and down. Like he's making all these things. I'm like, maybe he's lost it again. We're at the bottom, just across the stream. I am so exhausted. I got tree branches that have hit me, like stuck in my vest. I'm so tired. Like this is a mile into the track, which is, you know, everything you do in training, it's probably like a quarter mile, maybe a half mile is a long one. And this is rainy, exhausted, bleeding. And we're a mile in and I'm just worked. I'm like, I want to quit again. And Mattis is pulling on the leash because he wants to keep going. I'm like, this dog is amazing, but I think we're lost. Like, I think he lost the track. And
why didn't I take this 60-pound dog?
Yeah, 100%. One of the biggest things I always tell you is trust your dog, right? Is trust your dog. And I'm like, I don't want to trust the dog anymore. I'm tired and I want to quit. And people do not believe this story. He's pulling towards something in the mud, and it's another freaking shoe. Like, every time I wanted to quit, there's like a shoe dropped. Like, I'm not lying. There's another shoe stuck in the mud, and I'm like, I can't quit. This dog is nailing it, right? And so we start going again. And another quarter mile in, there's like this fence and people on the other side, and a guy with no shoes, and the person that was with him, too. That just kind of look back and see us as we're tracking right towards them. And I'm like, stop or I'm sitting my dog. And they're like, because they're beat and exhausted too. They just throw up their hands. But that was like my first track with Mattis. And I made it into a training exercise with every team that was on the unit after that because it built such confidence in my dog. It was so much more than just a track and learning to read your dog. It built confidence in my dog. And also it was the never quit attitude of trust your dog and don't give up if they don't, right? So if they're still in the fight, you stay in it. And so it was one of the greatest lessons in my entire canine career that, I thought it taught me so much about life, like you see this dog that just loves to do this job and he wants to please you and he's amazing and his tail wags the entire time. That's how he approaches life. He loves it. And then, I'm pissed and want to quit and tired and it's like, man, be more like my dog.
Yeah. Dang,
So,
man. Holy cow.
Nah.
Wow. That's awesome. So obviously we're not talking like search and rescue. This is search and fill in the blank.
Yeah, I think it's like search and justice. Search and
search and find the bad guys. And search and find the drugs. Search and find the perpetrator.
Every once in a while it's rescue. Every once in a while.
Okay. All right. So because you said that, I would ask it. Do you have,
I got to search and rescue.
All right, I'm in.
Okay, we had this. Like you might be like, bro, that's not really rescue, but it is. It is.
I don't care.
Life was saved because of my dog. Guys running from a traffic stop. Once again, does not meet the criteria for a dog bite, right? It's just someone running from a traffic stop. Guy, he's actually being tracked by another canine team because I wasn't into work yet. It was like 10 o'clock, and I heard it going out. And they already had a canine team on the ground. And I was so upset because you're like, oh, man, if I was in work 30 minutes earlier, I would have been the one on the call. And so I'm just like a chump on the perimeter, and I'm just like sitting there on the perimeter. But apparently the guy had run into one of the perimeter units close to me and was nowhere near where the dog team was. And so I was like, oh, I got to use my dog now, right? Is because they're running like right to where I am on the perimeter. And so we start running, cut them off. And this guy is looking back at the people chasing him over his shoulder, doesn't see anyone because they couldn't keep up with him. But this was the funniest thing. It was at this construction site, right? And so I'm trying to get there, and they're about a quarter mile away, and I don't want to hoof it the whole way. And so you always see in the movies, I'm trying to commandeer a vehicle, and all I have, because no one spoke any English at the site, and so I'm trying to use my 6th grade Spanish. And I'm a C student, maybe a D student. And so I'm trying to recall, like, how do I say, I need to take your car? And it's a construction site. There's trucks everywhere. Yeah. And so I'm seeing this guy. I'm like, yo necesito coche, right? I'm like, I need your car. And this one guy's like, and I'm like, he starts going, and I'm like, we're going to hop in the back of a truck and go to where I need, right? And he's the one guy that has a Volkswagen 1980 Rabbit, right? Full of crap. And I'm like, what? Like, no. And so we're about to get into this car. And I see the guy right there. And so I'm like, okay, let's just forget the car. I'm like, gracias. And just take off running towards the guy who still doesn't see us. We cut him off, and I'm probably about 50 yards away. And the guy, we're like, stop, show me your hands. And I'm with one of my good friends, Dave Freeman, who was on SWAT, actually was probably 2 years prior to this incident. He was shot 8 times on a traffic stop. Guy just
holy
out,
cow.
blazing. Yeah, it was like no warning. And so, but he's a solid guy, right? So he doesn't overreact. But this guy, when we're like, stop, show your hands, Dave's got on his rifle. I have Mattis, and I don't think I had my weapon out yet. Actually, I might have had it at a low ready on my side. But the guy looks at us, he takes a deep breath, and he jams his hand into his waistband and starts pulling something out. Dave says he had all the slack pulled out of his trigger already to take the guy out. I let go of Mattis to tell him to get it, because what he just did was he escalated a no-bite situation into a use of force, because we said, show me your hands, and the first thing he did is reach into his waistband. Dave has seen this video before in real life, and he got shot 8 times, right? We've seen it. That's one of the things you go through training in a police officer is, right, is hands are what kill you, and when someone's reaching into a waistband, that can take your life. And so he had escalated the situation to a bite situation, if not a lethal force. And so I let Mattis go. Mattis fearlessly covers 50 yards in seconds, nails the guy before he gets his hand out. A cell phone drops out of his hand. Mattis has him apprehended. I'm charging with my gun drawn. We talked to the guy after. He was like, I didn't want to go back to jail. I was trying to get you guys to shoot me so I didn't have to go back to jail. And all the construction site people that saw it is like, can't believe you didn't shoot that guy. And it was because of my dog. His speed, his fearlessness, covering that distance. It's one of my favorite stories to tell because it saved someone's life. And so there's your search and rescue is
I'll take it.
His courage, and it saved someone's life. And that means a lot to me, and especially because Dave and I both, although it would have been justified for us to actually shoot to stop the threat, we still would have had to carry that with us for the rest of our life. You know, his family would have had to live with that death for the rest of their lives, and they would have had questions. And because of the courage of a dog and him doing what he loves to do, a man's life, our emotional well-being, the family's emotional well-being was protected, and even his own. You know, he has a chance, and so that meant a lot to me.
That's very cool. Dang.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
he's a good dog.
Yeah. That's incredible. So there's like a plethora of things that are going through my head right now, and the first one is, I've actually heard that from a few other different officers, which I hadn't heard the term of suicide by cop or suicide by police. And that's literally guys that are faking something because they want that, they don't want to go or do whatever. So And I'll even shout out Sonoma County Sheriff's Department out in California, because there was Henry 1, their helicopter sitting there with a video on the home. They're like, this guy is armed. Do not go in there quite yet, because he was looking for that exact thing. That's crazy. Anyway, so I didn't. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I want to hear another story. Go.
What story do you want to hear?
Okay. Oh, all right. So, I'm curious to like the bite part of it. Like send him in and Mattis, I mean, he attaches, right? And let me come to a story of mine, and then I want this, okay?
Okay.
So I am working in the hospital for a little while. I was in the ER, and all of a sudden we have this patient being brought in by ambulance and cops, and we're like, what the? This dude's screaming left and right. And what had happened is he had broken into a church, went up in somewhere. The police came in, said, you're breaking and entering, get out. We're going to stick the dog on you. Get out. Boop, dog goes up, grabs him by his calf and pulls him out of the ceiling. Yeah. Amazing. Well, the dog bit so hard, he actually broke both tib and fib, but they didn't know that until later, because he had ripped part of and I'm probably getting too gross on this, but he ripped part of the calf muscle out of his leg, right? Ooh. So now the muscle's out of the leg, so they've got to go in and surgically put that back in. But when they go in to surgically put it back in, he's got broken bones. Well, the hospital that I was at the time was not able to manage such a large injury because of the dog. So I had to life flight him out to like Sacramento or down to San Fran or something like that, and then life flight him back to go to court. I was like, really? But that was my first encounter with seeing the back end of what these dogs do. Yeah. So with that, what other stories do you have that stand out to you?
Well, so the one thing I really liked about Madison, like I told you, he was super stable. And so most of his bites, he only had 4 puncture wounds where he would grab and puncture and hold. That's what he was trained to do. So it wasn't like he was pissed. Or when you, like in that situation with the ceiling where you're dragging them out, there was one guy that he had just robbed like a Sam's Club and was taken off in the woods. And I sent Mattis on him, and the guy's, I'm trying to navigate through the thick woods. Mattis is flying. I had given him warnings to stop. He didn't stop. Possibility identified, knew he was the guy. He has like all the stuff that he just robbed. And he's climbing a fence, and Mattis jumps up and latches onto his calf. And the dude spins around and kicks him. And that ticked Mattis off. And so he switches, because typically they'll stay on one area and not move. The guy kicks him and he transfers to the other leg. And so he bit this leg, he bit the other leg. The guy goes to swing on him. And so Mattis transfers to the bicep. and then he does something like you've probably seen like a dog do it before, where they start like whipping their head back and forth. It's the only bite he does that. Like he's just pissed off, right? And so he's tearing this guy. He's got, I'm not as versed as you are in the medical terms, but there was things hanging out of that arm that I'm like, wow, I did not know that should be hanging out of an arm. It was not just 4 puncture wounds. And it was the first time ever. Usually when I tell Mattis to let go of a bite, it's instantaneous, right? A verbal, I'm sure you've seen some of the videos where they can't get their dog off. Mattis was incredible. He would just pop off at the first word, Mattis, los, and he'd just pop off. This one, I said, Mattis, los, and he wouldn't let go. And I touched his collar, and second I touched his collar, he let go, but then he started gnawing on my boot. Like he was like, look me, like I'm like, ow, quit it. The guy after was like, I'm like, why'd you kick my dog? I was mad, right? Because like you can call me short, stupid, whatever, but you hurt my dog, and that makes me mad. Why'd you kick my dog? He's like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. He's sitting there, arm hanging out, below. It was gross. So there you go. To relate to that one, that was the worst bite like damage-wise that he had.
You know, don't just stop. You know the dog is gonna win. Just stop.
Yeah, and he's a really good fighter too. Like we train that, right? We train for it. Like, and that was one of the things that impressed me about him is like he doesn't like if you put pressure on him and when he's on a bite, because you have to train that way, right? Is without hurting a dog is you got to like doing jiu-jitsu or whatever. It's like you have to put him in uncomfortable situations and see if he'll stay in the fight. And so we train this stuff all the time. And I was like, this guy's one of the best fighting dogs. Like he would do things with decoys where you'll see like sometimes they try to deter the dogs so they get like a trash can lid and bounce them off. And Mattis would come up underneath and get him on the hand. Like he's a smart dog. You know, and the funny thing in those situations is like now the decoy's hurt and you're like, oh, but you can't get mad at your dog because your dog is really fighting
doing
good.
Exactly what they're training.
So stop the damage they're doing on the decoy because he's got him by the hand, but at the same time it's like, hey, good job, dog. So anyway, that guy didn't know.
Oh, that's funny. That's like funny, not funny. Sorry, but awesome.
Right. And he apologized. The guy sincerely apologized. I thought it was the coolest thing. I love it.
Did he really? That's funny.
It's like, I see the error in my ways.
Should have protected the hand. Just saying. Like,
that's
come on, man. All right, so you have trained Mattis to do all these different things. You mentioned like search for drugs or search and seizure stuff. Is that something like? How many like certifications can he go do?
Yeah, so we call it he's a multi-purpose canine or a dual purpose. And the dual purpose would mean that he does both patrol work, and his patrol work was the drug detection, obedience, all those other things, tracking. Those things fit into patrol. And then you have the apprehension protection side of it. So that's what the dual purpose means. But yeah, he was just a complete dog. Like he was so good at every aspect and made me look so much better than I was. Like his nose was incredible. He didn't have bad habits, and I tried to stay out of his way as much as I could, not so I wouldn't develop bad habits in him. He found things. There was this one after a track, another agency called us in, and they're like, "Hey, we got the guy, but he ditched a gun that he used during the crime, and we would love to find that if you can help." I'm like, "Okay, well, where'd you find him?" They're like, in the shack. But we've already searched the shack. It's not in there. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a good place for me to start anyway, because I know that guy's odor is all in there. And so let me just start in the shack. And so I start in the shack, tell him to go find an item, because that's one of the things he can do is an article search. He can find things that someone cast off. I think it's the most amazing thing. Like it gets lost in the tracking people and tracking drugs. But you got to think, those things have huge odor on them. An object has just been touched, and that's how the odor's transferred. It's just human odor that's been transferred to an object, and that's what he's looking for. And so he starts searching this little bitty shack that you'd have in your backyard, like maybe like a 6x8 type thing that you might throw a lawnmower in or in some tools and stuff. It's old and ratty, and Mattis goes into the corner and lays down. And I'm like, you guys searched the shack? They're like, yeah, it's not in there. And I'm like, he's laying down in the corner. And I pull the carpet back, pull up a board. There's the gun.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, right now, my wife is in my head. I told you to look in the drawer. I
Oh,
looked, it wasn't
gosh.
there. And then she comes over like this. I'm like, oh, man.
Exactly. Yeah, we have the same wife.
Oh, they're going to get along so well. This is amazing.
That's right. Absolutely.
Oh, honey, I can't find this. Call the dog. The dog will get it for you. You check the shed? Yeah, you check that? Yeah, no you didn't.
Here it is. What an idiot.
Dang. Wow. That's funny. We're going to divert real quick to thank our sponsors.
Blue Drop Training and Simulation. Blue Drop Training and Simulation for equipping your team with essential training solutions, including highly interactive courseware and advanced VR MR simulation training tools. Explore more of Blue Drop's training solutions at bluedropts.com.
Drugs and stuff as well. I know I asked you that a minute ago, but is that something else that he goes out and finds?
Yeah.
Is it like a big bust or little stuff, or what are we looking for? If
All
anything, or
all
yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories going back to Nico was this one where, and the car was just trashed, right? He had alerted on the outside and we're searching it, and it's just like piled high with all kinds of crap and stuff. And you can't find anything in this car. And I really didn't want to toss everything out of the car. I was getting frustrated. I'm like, yeah, well, why don't I use my dog to locate things? Kind of like the way I can't find it. You said it's here. I don't know where it is. And so I let Nico, and he goes behind the driver's seat and puts his nose and goes like that. And I'm like, where? And he points his nose. This is not something that we teach the dogs to do. I didn't know where it was. I was getting frustrated. He knew that. And I'm like, there's nothing there, right? There's a pile of trash. And he looks at me and just buries his head into the trash, grabs an envelope, spits it out at my feet. And inside was like meth and crack and all this other stuff, like in a plastic baggie inside the envelope under like all this trash and stuff. He's like, you idiot. Here it is. Same thing our wife does. It's right here.
What?
Right here.
What?
So yeah, Nico, yeah. He had another one too, pulling towards the bushes. I thought he needed to take a piss, and I'm like, stop! We're trying to search this over here. And he goes over. There's a Crown Royal bag, which is very popular with storing not Crown Royal, by the way.
Yeah.
Crown Royal, they have things in there, and it was over in the bushes. And I'm like, no, trying to keep him from doing it. And I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. So lots of those stories.
Things you learn. Things you learn as a handler.
Right.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Trust your dog.
All right, so let me ask you this then. You, like I mentioned in the beginning, you guys have earned yourself a whole bunch. And again, my hat's off to both you and Mattis for getting it. So let's start with Officer of the Year. Wow. How did that come about?
Well, all the awards actually came from one incident. And so the Officer of the Year, Distinguished Service Director's Award, Purple Heart. Like I said, I was carrying the leash. That was it. As I look back on the call, it was one that I felt frustrated because I thought I put my dog in a bad situation. But we got into a car chase with these people, and it was a robbery, car chase, but traffic was too thick. I couldn't keep up. I canceled myself. Guy pulls a U-turn, comes back at me, so I get back in it. Traffic too thick. I cancel myself again. The guy pulls into the crashes out in a parking lot that one of our police officers was doing reports in. Right. So all the worst luck in the world for the perps. They can't get away. They get away from us. They pull into the parking lot where a cop is. Both of them jump out and start running. One's headed kind of back towards my position, and I head to an area where I think he might go. And it's behind this strip mall that has a creek that goes behind it, and there's a retaining wall between the strip mall and the creek. And in places, I'd been back there before. It was about 10 feet high. And so I jump out of my car. I hit my door popper, which releases Mattis's door, and he runs beside me. That's what he's trained to do, right? Is when I hit the door popper, it's not like go and do anything else other than find me and run by me. And so I hit the door popper. Mattis is running by me, and the guy's coming right behind the strip mall, just like I thought he would. He sees us. He takes a leap over the retaining wall. And so I go to jump over the retaining wall after him, and I realize he's still falling. Like, it was one of those, it was not 10 feet high. He was still falling. I like rip my hand open, grabbing onto the guardrail, and then I see Mattis leap over the guardrail. And,
Holy shit.
Yeah. And like the image of him, he has like, I think I told you when I selected him, he's got this confidence, this calmness. It was the first time I saw panic in his eyes and his body position. Like, it was one that it is etched in my mind forever. Because he fell 30 feet, just frozen in time. And like, my mind is like, you can think so many thoughts in the time it takes a dog to fall that far. I'm thinking, I lost my best friend. Like, what is happening right now? How do I get down there? I'm thinking about flinging myself off to get down there, but I'm like, I'll break every bone. Like, everything in me knows I will break every bone in my body, especially with all the gear. I'm like, I can try to get to this tree, and like, I didn't know what to do. Like, it was absolute panic on my part. Mattis lands on top of the perp and looks up at me, and I'm like, okay, he's alive. I'm like, guard him. Like, and I tell the guy, don't move or you're going to get bit. And Mattis is guarding him. And then I'm like, Mattis is a little far away. So I tell Mattis to move closer. And this is a dog going after someone. Like, the ability to control, it just shows his intelligence, and plus the pain that he was experiencing that I didn't know about. Right. So I tell Mattis to move closer from 30 feet above him, where I have no physical control over my dog, and he could just latch onto this guy. Or he could take off, whatever, but he moves closer to him and guards him. The guy doesn't move. It takes us like my backup arrives behind me. We figure out a way to get down there. I have my backup go down so that I can verbally control my dog. Like, that's one of the things I have to have, is I have to have control of my dog at all times. And if he doesn't see me, he's going to go looking for me. So the dude's going to get away. So I stay up. The backup's like most police dogs, you're probably like, I don't want to get close to that dog. He might latch onto me. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got control of him. Like, I will control my dog from 30 feet away, and which is incredible. Backup figures out a way, takes him 2 minutes to get down there, puts him in cuffs. Once he gets him in cuffs, Mattis is still just like guarding, which is the coolest thing. Because he can't see me, and he stays on the last command that I gave him as I'm getting down to him. He sees me, turns towards me, starts coming towards me. I check him out to see if he's okay, because they're in a foot pursuit with the other bad guy. They're like, can you get over here with your dog? And I'm like, I don't know. He just fell 30 feet. So I do what we're trained to do, is check him. Like, you check his bones, and you check him for sensitivity, and he's not showing any. So I'm manipulating all of his joints. He's fine. Checking his ribs. They're okay. His stomach area, he's not showing any signs. And so I'm like, all right, we're on our way. We jump out of the car, pass all the other police officers that are in the pursuit, because he's a huge dog and he's dragging me. Guy sees Mattis, gives up. Mattis falls down and whimpers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I scoop him up, running back to my car, which, heavy dog, but I don't even remember like thinking about how heavy he was or how long it took me to get back to the car. It was like, it was just like, this is what, I'm sure you've had situations, right, where, especially in what you do, it's like, no, adrenaline takes over, and this is, this is what we train for, and this is what I do. Right. So I scoop him up, and it's a blur from when I pick him up, get him in my police car, and get to the emergency vet. And he's a very chill dog when I'm with him, but when there's unknown and I'm not there, he can be a jerk. And so I'm like, I need to come back with him, because you guys will not be able to control him. And like, I'm lifting him up on the table, and they're doing x-rays and MRIs and stuff to, check and see what's going on. And the vet says, we got to get him into surgery right away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not good. Like, I don't know much, but I know that's not good. And they're giving him anesthesia, and he goes out, and they tell me it's a lacerated liver. And then I go, and, he's under now, and they're doing what they have to do. But it was the longest 24 hours of my life, not knowing if he would survive it, if he would ever be a police dog. I thought I'd be lucky if he lives through it. He's not going to be a police dog. And this was early on. It was less than a year of him being on the job, and I already had this confidence, and this is going to be the best police dog that I have ever seen. I knew it. And I'm like, not only that, he's my best friend, and I had him running off lead next to me, and he jumped because I was running, and I jumped, and he went, and I held on, and it was like I'm feeling this guilt and pain and what I should have done, but he was a hero through it all. Like he was the one that he caught that first dude, and then he showed the resilience to fight through the pain and catch another guy. And then once the mission was complete, that's when he was like, okay, I need help. And obviously he's here. So he's in front of me right now. But his life was saved, and he went on to have, like, after that, like, that's what he got the awards for, that one incident. But he, over the course of his career, has more arrests, more fines, more apprehensions than all of the dogs combined in the history of our department.
Oh my gosh.
He was back to work. Like, that was one of the things I was scared of, is like, he's not going to have the confidence. He's going to have some PTSD from this, and heights will mess with him. He never showed any of that. He was back to work in a month. Like, it was incredible. He's such an amazing dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow, what a story. Oh my gosh.
Good dog.
You know what? I'll call that a good search and rescue case right there. You rescuing the dog.
Well, yeah. They did a great job at the emergency vet. Like, forever in debt. Like, it was neat. It was cool. They posted, like, the department posted something, keep, Canine Mattis in your prayers. And there's all these messages and stuff. It went everywhere. And by the time they opened him up, two things that were kind of funny. He had a lacerated liver, like I said. That had healed itself by the time they had opened him up, which was, they're like, we've never seen anything like that before. Like, his liver healed itself. I don't know I know nothing about medical or if that's possible, but
wow. I'll just say, wow.
They looked at me and they're like, what is this about? And they pull out like a tennis ball that he had swallowed. And I'm like, oh, I guess he swallowed a tennis ball. Like,
oh my God.
They're like, that's not why he was in pain. There's just half a tennis ball that was in his stomach. And they're like, we got this out too. And I'm like, oh, wonder where that went. So, watch out for tennis balls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well done. Well done. Like, you and Mattis. That's crazy.
Yes, sir.
30 feet. Gosh, man.
And I went back because you know how you exaggerate things, or at least I do sometimes. And
the fish was this big.
Right. I track with a 30-foot lead, right? And so I took that 30-foot lead. I put it on the edge of where he jumped from and threw it down, and it's dangling. And so it was like, no, it was legit 30 feet. Like, it was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 1 month later, he's back on the job with you.
Yep.
With no fear,
None
issues.
None. That was the first thing I did, was like, I worked him back in, and I was like, okay, let's go on some high objects and see how he reacts, to see if there's any kind of aversion or anything like that. And then we started training in areas like that, and then there was just nothing. He was like, no, it's fine. No big deal.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I carried more trauma from it, I think, than he did. Mentally, anyway.
He did brush it off.
Yeah.
I said, what?
Yep.
Dang. All right.
He's a good dog.
Mark, this is awesome. Hey, are there any other stories that stand out to you, like, after that happened?
Oh, I mean, like I said, that was early on in his career. So, I mean, there was, like, we were searching a building. I thought it was there's so many of these stories where it's the same thing. I was like, oh, no, there's nothing there. And the dog's like, no, you're an idiot. There's like this, see, I got to think. So I didn't think there would be anything. I got to watch how I talk about the person who called this in. So let's not talk about that person.
Okay.
But they might have been a racist. And they're like, hey, I think my home was broken into because I saw a black person. What? Like, what? That made no sense to me. And I'm like, go to the back. I'm like, hey, there's damage on the back of your house. Has that always been there? Yeah, I think so. What? Right. So anyway, we go to the back of the house, and I'm thinking it's just this person is an idiot. I don't think I said it. Well, except for if that person is watching your podcast, and I just call them racist.
They don't know who it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you use your judgment. I think we'll be fine. But whatever. There's damage, and I'm like, okay. I give the commands that we do before we send a dog in. Alpharetta Police Canine Unit. Make yourself known, or I'll send my dog. He will bite. We scream that, give time so that they can respond. We do it 3 times. Say last warning. Do it again. No response the entire time. Open the door, send my dog in, and he doesn't do a typical search. Like, he puts his head to the left, to the right, and then just beelines it to the back of this structure. And so I'm like, oh, this is different. And you got to understand, too, like when we do all these training scenarios, it's like I might tell you, hey, Jason, if you could go hide in the back, you're not stressed out too much when you go through the situation. A real perp is going to have like all kinds of hormones, fear, adrenaline, sweat. Their odor is going to be thick, and the dog knows the difference. And so he bypasses every danger area in the house and just goes straight to the back. And I'm like, I tell my backup, I'm like, I'm not cover my back. I'm going with my dog. And he flies to the back room, gets to like the master bedroom, lays down like right through the threshold where there's a bed directly in front of him. There's a closet and a pile of clothes on the right. And then there's the bathroom to the left that kind of hooks over to the left. And Mattis is laid down right at the corner of the bed looking towards the pile of clothes. And I'm like, what the? And so I'm kind of pieing around the corner as I'm catching up to my dog. And I see eyeballs in the bottom of the pile of clothes. Like, I almost crapped myself. I was like, oh, that's an eyeball. Like, what is that? Come here. Like, get out of the pile of clothes. I see you. Game over. Right? And Mattis is just watching. And I'm like, I'm going to send my dog. Come out of the clothes. Like, the gig is up. Doesn't move. I'm like, so I give my dog the command. I'm like, get him. And so he dives into the clothes, drags out this person that has a bat in their hand that was just waiting to like assail us. And so through the clothes, he just nails the person. It was awesome. So lots of stories like that where he blows me away. Saves, like he probably, it just been me and my partner. Who knows? I know I was going through a deadly force, but a bat to the head doesn't feel too good, you know?
No.
But because of my dog, we're protected.
Holy
good stuff, man. It's the primary reason we use dogs in law enforcement is because of their nose capabilities, right? And there's other animals that have these amazing capabilities too. But the thing that makes dogs different is their bond with people. And that's why they're so good at this job, is because they connect with the handler. You become like this amazing team. The bond is inseparable. Like, he follows me around everywhere. He's my best. You spend more time with that dog than you do any person on the planet. And the things that they can do are incredible. So it is the absolute best job in the world. And I think I told you earlier, I'm a carpet cop. I do admin stuff now, and I miss it every day that I don't get to work with a dog.
Every day, like even while you're in the office?
No, he's old. He has trouble getting up and down stairs now. When I'm home, he follows me everywhere. Even if it takes him a minute to get up the stairs, anywhere I go, he's with me. So he's actually, let me see if I can get this around real quick, on the floor right there.
Look at that dog.
Yeah,
laid out. If there was a little ray of sun right there, he'd be in that. The ray of death.
There we go.
So, all right, let me ask you this, because I mean, obviously, you two have had an amazing career together. It's incredible, and I could literally sit here and listen to stories all night long. I promise you that. Question about this one: how the heck did you get on A&E's Top Dog? Like, where did that come into play?
Yeah, so they had heard my story. There was some cool stories that came out, and then because of our focus too, like, I want to be excellent in 3 areas. I want to be excellent in the way that we trained, the way we deployed, and the way we did community relations, because I saw an awesome opportunity with dogs. And so our social media kind of grew. What I did was I actually just showed our training days, and I showed how awesome my dog is and the bond that we share, and people loved it, right? And our social media just grew and grew and grew. And I wanted to do a few things through that, not only build the bridge with the community, but I wanted to show people although he's this awesome dog and I trained him where he can interact with anyone, so you can pet him. At the same time, we do our job with excellence and we train hard. And so I'm trying to raise the bar, and with police dogs too was kind of my goal. And through that, because of his story, a mutual friend saw that A&E was looking to cast people for America's Top Dog. And they said, hey, you should probably talk to Mark and Mattis. And then they go through these interviews, and like any of they always want a story. And so because of Mattis's amazing story with his Purple Heart, like they're like, oh, people are going to love that. And so, and I guess I wasn't too much of an idiot where they're like, oh, we like the dog, but you're a doofus. So they must have been like, oh, we really like the dog and you're not too bad. So we want you.
You can join him too.
Yeah. And there's a kind of funny story with that too. Cause we were shooting as episode 10, right? So they're like, hey, we're going to fly you out. And I knew that they're doing this Champions Edition too, right? So there's all these winners. It's like an American Ninja Warrior type thing where they run this obstacle course, 3 different levels of an obstacle course. If you win the first, or if you make it through the first round, you go to the second round, and then the winner's in the third round. And I knew that they're going to do 10 episodes plus a champion. So they're going to take all the best winners and then shoot a Champions Edition. And so we're in the very last one that shot. We aired as episode 3, but the way that they shot them was we were episode 10, and so the Champions was going to be the next day. And so I knew that, and they got us our tickets and everything, and it had me coming back the day they were shooting the Champions Edition. And I'm like, hey, what if we make the Champions? And they're like, you think you're making the Champions? I'm like, I know how good my dog is, right? You guys don't know Mattis. Like he didn't just luck into these awards. He's an awesome dog, and he makes me look so much better than I am. So I'm like, when I wrote, they're like, you wrote the dates wrong on your request for when you're gonna fly. And I'm like, no, I did that on purpose because I know that you guys are shooting, and I plan on coming back on this day, not on the day that you're sending me back. We're making the Champions. And they're like, okay.
Oh man,
we'll see. And so it was when we did that show. It was so much fun. The staff were amazing. The other teams were incredible. And I knew that because they already had the champions, they already had all the teams that they needed for it. And so I was like, when I saw that, because what they would do was the day that we were shooting was the day that the next episode would be training. Right. So they get an intro to the course and stuff. And some of the teams shot weeks ago, so they were bringing them in and all this other stuff. And they do interviews, shoot all the B-roll stuff with them on the day that we would compete. And so I saw them, and they were doing that with these other teams. And they're like, yeah, we're full. So you're not going to make it. And I'm like, well, what can I do? And so
watch this. Hold on, beer. Watch this.
Yeah. And that's what I knew I had. Not only did I have to win, I had to do it in a fashion that would like stand out. And so we're going through the first obstacle course, and Mattis is just, he was in rehearsals. He's so good. Like, it's not that I'm a good trainer. He's an amazing dog. He was doing these things, and I was just like, we're flying through it. And we get to the water, you go through cars, you're weaving through cars where they jump in the trunk, go through the seat, jump out the window, go through the next car, and you're doing this weave. You go up to this thing where they have to jump up, grab onto a ball, pull down a ramp. We're flying that thing. They have to jump over these walls. They have to go over a slatted bridge. He's flying across the bridge, and then we both have to, or he has to jump into the water, and we run to the other side, hit a button, and that stops the time. And so I'm running. I'm like, I'm going into the water with my dog, right? And so he goes across the bridge, and he's going up towards the water, and I'm full speed and just dive head first into the water. And Mattis, it was like, we had never done this before. Mattis jumps at the same time, and so it has both of us going into the water at the same time. And we both come out. We set a record for how fast the time was. Everyone's going nuts. The crowd watching, the producers, like, they come up to me. They're like, that was cool. Don't ever do that again. And I'm like, okay. Because they told us you can get in the water with the dog. And so I was just like,
whatever.
So anyway, we won our episode, and then we got into the champions, and we came in second by 8 seconds. So anyway,
Wow,
so
that's
much
really
fun.
good.
Yeah, it was cool.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome.
Up next, Sergeant Mark Tappan and his impressive German Shepherd.
Here we go, bud.
They have a record of over 200 arrests and a Purple Heart for valor. It is Team Mattis.
I'm Sergeant Mark Tappan from the Alpharetta Police Department, Alpharetta, Georgia. This is my canine partner, Mattis. He's a 6-year-old German Shepherd. We've been together for 4 years. He's my best friend in the world. I talk to him. Mattis is trained as a dual-purpose narcotics dog, so anything that's dangerous, we go to. We got him behind some guys that had robbed quite a few people. They ended up bailing out of the car and taking off running. Mattis comes up and starts running beside me, and the guy sees us, and about right here, he makes a decision to jump. I see Mattis dropping 30 feet down to the ground below. They said we need to get him into surgery right away. I was a wreck for about 48 hours. Once he came out of surgery at the emergency vet, that was one of the best feelings in the world. He won Officer of the Year. He also got a Purple Heart. It shows you he makes me look a lot better than I am. I hope he does that tonight.
It is time to see who is tonight's top dog. The time to beat is 4 minutes, 31.86 seconds. Is Team Mattis fast enough? And here they go.
Yep.
They're off to a fast start if you get this door down.
Here.
That's an advantage of a 100-pound dog.
Worth all the kibble you gotta buy.
Hop up.
Through the window like it's not even there. So far, size doesn't seem to matter, Nick.
But spiderweb is where bigger dogs get tangled up. Is Team Mattis the next victim?
Mattis says, you're gonna need more than ropes to stop me. Less than 30 seconds into low call. This could be one of the fastest runs we've ever seen.
Mattis waiting for Sergeant Tappan. A strong bond here.
The 42 boxes hardly slow them down.
Hey, go.
These guys are hungry, Kurt. All business.
Door breach, open just like that.
Beautiful.
They've got a solid lead. Now it's just a question of how fast they'll finish. Check out the power of this 100-pound dog on the takedown. Now he needs to release and cross the finish line. Finally releases and crosses the finish line in 1 minute, 21.3 seconds. Mattis smoked the doghouse. That's one of the best times we have ever seen.
Because I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Yeah,
We hit the line at the same time, right?
Totally did. It was pretty badass, actually. The other thing I was impressed with, and you talked about earlier, is that because Mattis had to go up, and you had to tell him to bite. He went and bite, and then release like immediately. And the two guys are like, "We think that's a course record." Wow, I can't believe how fast they were. And I was like, "Dang, it was impressive." So well done.
The funny thing was that's what cost me in the champions was he didn't let go right away. Right before, because we had been training specifically for America's Top Dog, right? And so I was teaching just to let go of the bite really, really, really quick. And so he got to the point where I'd say Mattis and he would let go of the bite, which is not the best for street deployments necessarily. Right? As you want him to bite and hold on, you want him to let go right when you ask him to. But we had this call right before we went, like the night that we're supposed to leave to fly out to Santa Clarita, where it's another barricaded guy, domestic abuse, has a bat, he's hiding in a room, kick in the door of the room, send Mattis in to grab a hold and pull him out. And he goes in, grabs a hold, and as soon as I start pulling back, he flies off the bite. And I'm like, no, phooey, get back in there. And so the last thing in his mind was, okay, last time I let go of a bite, I got in trouble, right? So I need to stay on it until he comes up to me. And so when we're on the show, you saw the hesitation that he had, and I was like, oh, that's because we had this real bite. And so there's a whole chapter in my book about how TV shows are cool and stuff, but you need to train for real life.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, to that though, just if you want to circle back a little bit, you almost got to be a game show host. You just got to be on the game show. So
That's right.
I mean,
Small world.
second place is pretty good. I gotta give you that.
Is it?
Second place is just the first
Loser.
Oh!
First loser. That's what I was.
Oh, Dude, the fact that you guys were there and you got to be able to do that is just incredible. Like, I love that stuff. That's freaking so really fun. Cool. So fun. It also goes to show like how connected the two of you really are. Just so you can see, like, as I'm watching that, I'm like, wow, like every command, everything, every direction you're giving him is just being executed immediately, and it's impressive to watch. Like I try to do that with my own dog, and I'm like, oh, stop eating that. What are you doing?
He still gets into the trash and stuff too, but
okay, well then I don't feel that anymore.
But it is like, it shows how, that's what I really liked about it, and I was really proud of my dog through all of it, is because it really didn't show how good I was. I'm the one who slowed him down. Like, if not for me, if he had a faster handler, he would have won the whole thing. He was doing stuff, and you really had to in that environment. All the dogs that did well were this way, but they had to be intuitive, because they sold it as it's a game show that has tasks that are oriented towards what police do every day. My dogs never weaved through a car, right? Like go do a course or jumped up and grab a ball and pull a ramp down. So I was asking him to do he had to be intuitive, and he had to know what I meant, even though it was something that he hadn't necessarily done before. So, and that's where he excelled, and that's why I was so proud of him, because it really did show like how smart of a dog he is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? I'll give credit to the lady that was on just before you, like on the show. Like her dog was pretty good too. It's just way slower. Yeah, I think so.
I love Fuse. Yeah, they were awesome. I love that team. There were so many dogs that I absolutely loved. Yeah.
But it's just like it's all the dog handlers and all the dogs collectively together. When you break it down like that, like again, I'm not taking away from anything that you guys did, but it's awesome to watch the combination of the two, and it's like, wow, that is impressive. Like,
it's cool.
Come, sit, stay, go, left, up, down. Like I'm trying to teach my dog direction, and actually it's getting kind of good. But like it's a lot of work to do that. And for those that don't understand how much work goes into training that, it's incredible.
Yeah, so, I would tell people, they would always ask, like, how much training does it take? And it's like, whatever day we're on, I would train at least, especially when I was on patrol with him, at least 2 hours every day. We would be building upon everything else we do, plus the 16 hours of monthly cooperative training we did with other teams. But 2 hours every day I worked. And then at home, you're always training or untraining your dog. And so when they ask how much training, it's like, well, he's 10 or he's 12 now. So 12 years of training, but now he's old, and I don't hold him accountable for anything. He can just do whatever he wants, and he knows. He's actually, because we'll do appearances, and he poses for pictures. And so he's like trained him. Yeah. He's like, I know what I do now. I do pictures, and I let kids pet me, and this is life.
Oh, that's so fun. It's called retirement. Well done, Mattis.
That's right.
You moocher. He's just mooching off you right now. Come on, Mark.
I did my whole career, so it's payback. Fine.
Oh, that's so funny. We're going to divert real quick to thank our sponsors.
Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Again, kind of my own curiosity with everything. You guys being in out in Atlanta area, you tend to get big storms and like natural disasters that come through. Did you guys ever have to respond to anything like that to like help community and stuff? Is that no? Okay.
Just ruin your search and rescue angle.
Nope. No, not at all. But that's what I love about this. I just love the stories. I love stories to come, but I gotta ask, like, whatever.
Yeah. I have 3 dogs actually. I have Mattis, Storm. Funny enough, we just had a hailstorm that came through, and Hawk is the 3rd dog, who's Mattis' son, but Storm was scared to death of the storm, so she was like sitting in my lap the entire time. So we had to respond to hail. My dog was sad.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh my gosh. So what is the plan now? Are you going to continue to train another dog? Is that a thing that you guys do as far as handlers and whatnot?
Yeah, typically. I'm kind of old. I've got with Mattis. I've all kinds of. This could be fun from your medical side, but I have that nasty finger. If you see that, that's a
Really
leash
good.
being ripped out of my hand. It's gross, right?
Ooh.
Ligaments all torn up. I have 2 torn ACLs on my left side. I have a torn bicep. So I'm pretty beat up. And the other thing is like I don't want if I got another dog, I'd have to get rid of Mattis. And Mattis, that's not an option.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's not going.
Got it.
He's not going anywhere. Until it's his time to go. And that's it. And that's going to hurt. And I think it's coming pretty soon too. But yeah, so because of that, now I'm doing hiring and recruiting. I'll go and speak at training events and things like that. I get opportunities because of the book to speak at events. He is slowing down, and we have one more event that I think I'm going to let him go to. That's kind of a extended where people can interact with him. But other than that, we'll just go and go to school still and read books and let a small amount interact with him. But it's just taking a toll on him more and more. So we still do social media. You can catch us on there. That's slowed down a little bit too. But yeah, I'll update my book with another chapter when the time comes for me to update it.
Nice.
I plan on, I have another children's book that I've already written that's just kind of teaching characteristics that I've seen in my dog that I think, have made me a better man. And I think for kids, it might be like it's on courage and, lessons that he's taught me. So I'm writing it from a kid's book perspective. So that's what I'll continue to do some of those. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's next. I'm not sure what it is, but I love what I do. I think what I've done, not the hiring and recruiting, I guess, is important too for the next generation. But I thoroughly have enjoyed everything that I've done, and I hope that because this is what success is to me, I hope it's made my family proud and it's made God proud of the life that I've lived and I continue to live. So that's what I'm shooting for.
Well, all right. So I'm going to ask a couple questions real quick. Number one, department that you're recruiting for. Shout out to him. What department are you in?
Alpharetta Police Department. In
Georgia.
I tell people I'm not a used car salesman. There's wonderful departments that are all around. I think the thing that sets us apart is the people that you get to work with. I mean, you get to work with people like me. So we've got that. There's so many better people at the department than me. And then I think we have some good supervisors, and the community we work in is incredible. The people in the community appreciate what you do. It's a nice place, very nice place. It's rated the #1 city in the state of Georgia. So yeah, there's lots of pluses for us. There's lots of good agency. It's finding the right fit, but there you go.
Nice. All right. And where does it, if somebody wanted to be a police officer in your department, where can they go to find it?
adpscareers.com.
Okay. Got it. And I'll have the link below and in the bio just for you. Okay. I got it. So if you're interested, call Mark and be like, Mark, I heard you on the podcast. I want to get on the police department. That's awesome.
Love it.
All right. Now, Instagram. What is your Instagram so everybody can follow you and Mattis?
If you look up because it's that ADPS _K9 _Mattis, a little confusing. If you just look up K9 Mattis, you'll see it. He's verified. So he's a big deal. And then
he's got a check.
Yeah, he's on the TikTok too. He's got a crap ton of followers on TikTok, but TikTok's kind of
that's awesome.
Anyway, whatever. It's all commercial now, but whatever.
Yeah, it sure is. That's all right. Yeah. Well, I'll have those updated as well, and that way everybody can kind of follow along with you and your story.
Awesome.
This has been so much fun for me, Mark. I'll tell you what. Can I ask one more story? Just one more that stands out to you. It could be car chase. It could be breaking and entering. It could be seizure of something, or hit it. What do you got?
Oh, let's see.
I know I just put you on the spot. It's terrible.
That's okay. Well, I wrote a whole book about all my stories. So
okay,
There is
I'll make
another
sure-
one
no.
that's not in the
Okay.
book, right?
Oh, here we go. That's
Yeah.
what I like.
And it was a cool one too. So there was this earlier in the night, we were working, I was a night shift. We had a girl that had passed away. Well, we were still dealing with it at the time, but there was an opioid overdose that was happening in this one area. And so I was not dispatched to that as a canine unit. Someone else was. But then they said someone just took off from the house and carjacked someone across the street at a church, right? So, there's this cool story too, because we showed up on scene and talked to them. And this guy, there's people coming out of the church, and this guy comes over, puts a gun in their face. It turns out this guy's responsible for the death of the girl with the overdose, right? He's the one. So he's running from there, goes over to the church. He puts the gun in the face of this one person who's in their car, and says, "Get out of the car. Give me the car." And this other brave citizen's like, "Here, take my car," because that person was in a wheelchair and couldn't get out of the car. And someone, rather than seeing someone get carjacked, and like they had the bravery to step in and offer their car just so that person wouldn't get shot. Like I was like, the hero of this story is that person who was willing to do that. But anyway, so they stole that guy's car. They're taking off. And I'm like, where could they possibly go? And so I go onto the interstate and I just kind of wait. And they gave out the description of the car. And it was like there was damage on the front window. And it was like an orange Scion or something like that. And I'm on the freeway. 30 minutes later, I see the car. I jump in behind the car. Chase ensues. They're flying. I'm flying behind them. They get off at, if you know the area, they get off at the park and ride, the MARTA park and ride. And I'm like, they don't know where they are because it's a one-way exit. And it goes either you're coming right back up towards everyone that's chasing you. You either have to pull a U-turn or you go into a parking deck. And the dude flies into the parking deck. And I'm like, I got him. Like, you can't get out of here. So he busts through the arm of the parking deck, starts going up the ramps, and I could see him peek. He's got his gun in his hand, and I catch up. I swing out wide on one of the turns, like 3 levels up, where there's not as many cars. So rather than being directly right behind him, I swing out wide, and actually, I swung out wide. It wasn't like a great maneuver. I actually tried to hit him, and I missed, and so I swung out wide. But I see him looking over his shoulder, like, where'd that guy go? And I see the gun in his right hand. And so I T-bone the guy coming from the side as like hard as I can. I see the gun fly out of his hand, and he jumps out and he starts running. And so I hit my door popper again. I'm running after the guy, and I tell Mattis to go take him down. And Mattis is just looking at me, and I'm like, I'm getting pissed at my dog. I'm like, why aren't you going to get him? And then I'm not tall. I'm 5'6", but I can see over the cars, and I can see where the guy is. Mattis is running at like 2.5 feet. He can't see over the cars. So he doesn't know who I'm talking about. And so he's just running by my side. And so we're running by my side. And it's the coolest thing to me because you have to understand, he's not on leash. He's running by my side through crowds of people. Like there's people that are coming out to their cars, coming off the elevator, going up and down the stairs. And Mattis is just weaving right next to me the entire way off leash. It's the coolest thing.
Wow.
We get on the stairs. He exits onto this other floor. I'm like, I'm catching the guy. I'm like, this is amazing. I catch the guy and I tackle him. And I'm like, how did I catch him? I'm not really sure how I caught him. And, I just tackled high. And then I see Mattis. He's got a shoe in his mouth. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you have a shoe? And I'm kind of mad. I'm like, I thought the guy just ran out of his shoe. And so I'm like, drop the shoe, help me. And so he spits the shoe and bites the guy. I can get control of his arm. And then I look down at his foot, and he had holes in his foot from where Mattis had, like, as we were exiting, grabbed a hold of his foot. So that's why I was able to catch the guy, was Mattis had actually grabbed his foot. And so that's when I tackled him. And then, but I'm getting mad. I'm like, spit out the shoe. Come on.
What are you doing? Stop
Yeah.
messing around. We're trying to go to work here.
Yeah. That was a fun one. Once again, you learn things from your dog. It was
Yeah.
cool. The guy had, like I said, he was pretty bad dude that had contributed to the death, carjacked someone. He had some holes in his feet and his arm. So anyway,
oh my
there
gosh. Oh, Mark, I love these
Those are
stories.
fun.
I know this was like off the beaten path, what I normally do with search and rescue, search and fill in the blank with you and Mattis. But I have absolutely loved our conversation today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey,
one more
you.
question. Hold on, one more question before
Okay.
I let you go. And that is, I'm looking for a piece of advice, right?
Okay.
Everything you've been through, Marine Corps, being a police officer, having the canine, having Mattis and Nico. And
Yep.
Nico, what advice would you pass on to everybody else that's out there that either wants to do what you're doing or is doing it now?
Yeah, well, for that specifically, it's trust your dog, right? You put the time in. It's the one lesson that resonates with every canine handler is you train the dog the right way. Get as much input as you can from as many sources as you can. Take the good, leave the bad. Pour everything you can into that dog, and then when you deploy that dog, trust it, right? You have to do the work on the front side. You can't be excellent in the way that you train and the way that you deploy, because they're amazing tools that you develop this incredible bond with. Put the time into them. It'll show in the work that comes out of them. But when you go to that work, you got to trust what they're trying to tell you. Don't get frustrated.
Awesome.
And this is the things that, right, is you see the bigger picture of how the dog, it's the best piece of advice my dad gave me about training dogs. He told me, all that dog wants to do is make you happy. You can't get frustrated with it, right? Is if there's a problem, it's on you, right? Because that dog loves what it does, and it does it with all of its heart and will not quit, right? So have the same attitude. Be willing to pour that into your dog.
That's good stuff. You want to add another one? Anything else? Any other piece of advice you want to pass on? Because I'll take another one. It sounds like you got a bunch.
I think it seems like the same way, right, as the attitude that you have is life is always teaching you something. And that's what the book really is about, is just the different ways that you see. Like, I could have just been defeated and beat myself up when I let him go over that and never tried again, or whatever. Like, life deals you these different things. A lot of it is the perspective and trying to learn from every situation you're in. And that's why, like, the book, it says 12 life lessons about my dog, right? It's these things that I learned through my dog, that God can teach you things through the most mundane, and there's always something to be learned in whatever you go through, right? If you have that kind of attitude towards it. So there you go.
Awesome. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been so much fun for me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for not giving up on me, man. Like, you're awesome. Thanks for the
It was my pleasure. Absolutely. And when I come down, like I'm coming to Atlanta, and when I'm down there, I'm calling you. We're gonna go out. We're gonna grab a beer or something.
Yes.
And if I get Kim up there, she can pet an unpettable dog yet again.
Yes, I would love it. That would be fantastic.
Awesome. I will see you soon, my brother.
Thanks,
and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Go.
Now, it's time for me to pull chocks and take off. But before I go, I'm always looking for the memorable rescues that people have done. If you have one that you're willing to share, or know somebody who has a story, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to highlight it here at the Real ResQ. For everybody that is standing by for that SAR alarm, remember, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. So until next time, fly safe and swim hard. Thank you for joining me today here at the Real ResQ Podcast, powered by Vertical Helicast. We'd also like to say thank you to our sponsors for this episode.
Blue Drop Training and Simulation. Blue Drop Training and Simulation for equipping your team with essential training solutions, including highly interactive courseware and advanced VR/MR simulation training tools. Explore more of Blue Drop's training solutions at bluedropts.com. Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
And
SpectroLab. SpectroLab, a pioneer and world-leading supplier of high-intensity searchlights for all para-public operations. Visit www.spectrolab.com to learn more about our third generation Night Sun series, high-intensity searchlight. When reliability and performance is critical to your mission, count on SpectroLab Night Sun searchlights.
training. What's the funniest thing you ever had happen in some of your training with Mattis?
Oh, well, another dog. I was doing a Citizens Academy, and once again, I'm short. And so I'm in this bite suit, and I'm having another dog that's attacking me, and we're showing, to the citizens. So these are people that want to learn more about law enforcement. And I know this dog's a leg biter, and so I try to do something that's called an esquive, where you dodge the dog. And the dog was really smart. Is another smart dog, and I'm not that fast, and I'm in a big bite suit. And instead of the dog latching onto my leg, it latches on straight to my nuts, like right in front. Yeah. So we're doing this public demonstration, and it's a huge dog too. Like it's a really big dog, and it's clamping down and just dragging me across the parking lot by my balls. So that was probably the funniest thing that happened in a training or demonstration type thing, So I'm trying to keep my composure, and I think the handler's like in tears on the side, and I'm like, so what you see the dog here? And I'm like, the whole time it was entertaining.